makes assessment tool effective? What do you all think is the most crucial characteristics?
I'd say content validity. If an assessment doesn't measure what it's supposed to, then the results are meaningless. But how do we ensure content validity?
Good question. We use content blueprints that maps assessment items to learning objectives. But let's think critically what happens when task lacks content validity.
If content validity is weak, students might be tested on irrelevant concepts. Imagine a math testing requiring high-level reading skills. Students could fail because of reading difficulty, not their math ability.
That raises an ethical issue. Shouldn't an assessment focus solely on the intended knowledge and skills? If it doesn't, is it even a fair measure?
That ties into the fairness aspect of assessments. Every student should have an equal chance to demonstrate their knowledge. But fairness isn't just about content, it's also about accessibility. How can we make assessment fair for all students?
By removing bias. We should ensure language and context are inclusive. Also, providing accommodations for students with disabilities is key. But do fairness and validity always go hand in hand?
Not necessarily. A test could be valid but still unfair. For example, a history test might validly measures knowledge but use biased question, disadvantaging certain students.
That's a good point. This brings us to reliability. A test must be consistent if students take the same test multiple times under similar conditions, their scores should be stable. But how do we measure reliability?
I think we measure me- we measure reliability through statistical analysis. Psychometricians use methods like test, retest, reliable, reliability rather, and internal consistency. But let's challenge this. Does a highly reliable test always ensure quality assessment?
Not necessarily. A test can be reliable, but really bad if a test consistently measures the wrong thing. It's reliable, but not valid. We need both validity and reliability to ensure quality.
So, reliability ensures consistency, validity ensures accuracy, and fairness ensures accessibility. But let's take this further. How do these principles impact real world assessments?
Good question. In national standardized tests, reliability is crucial for comparing results across students. But if the test isn't fair, some students will be at a disadvantage. How do we balance fairness and standardization?
That's a challenging question. Standardized tests aim for objectivity, but one fairness requires flexibility. One solution is adaptive testing, where the difficulty adjusts based on a student's ability level. What do you think?
I think adaptive testing is great, but it leads to another issue. Does it maintain validity if students receive different questions?
Yes, if designed well, computer algorithms ensure a student is tested on equivalent difficulty levels. But here's a deeper question. Can a single test ever fully capture the student abilities?
No, probably not. Learning is complex and no test can measure every skill. That's why we need multiple assessment types: formative, summative, performance based. But do we over rely on tests?
Yes, absolutely. A good assessment system includes project portfolios and observations. But why do schools still focus heavily on standardized tests?
They heavily focus on standardized tests because they're easy to administer and compare, but they don't always reflect real-world skills. If we want authentic assessment, shouldn't we prioritize performance-based tasks?
Hmm, that's an important point. Education isn't just about test scores. It's about meaningful learning. Maybe we should rethink assessment entirely. What if we designed assessment that not only measure learning but also promote it?
That's a powerful idea. A truly great assessment doesn't just rank students. It helps them grow. Maybe our real goal, isn't just valid, reliable, and fair assessment, but assessment that inspires learning.
Yes. So, in the end, the best assessments aren't just about measuring knowledge, they're about enhancing education itself. That's something worth striving for.
So, diretso na to sa kwan, part 2.
Okay, dito na
Yun
ta.
siya, ano.
Sige, so, kwan yapon ko, student 1 yapon ko. Sophia, start na ko ha. Pat.
Sige, sige, sige. Ako record.
Okay. Hey everyone, we have a discussion today on different types of assessment. Let's start with fundamental question. Why do we need various types of testing in education?
That's a great question. I think it's because different tests serve different purposes. A single test can't measure everything effectively. What do you all think?
Exactly. Imagine trying to check a student's overall learning using just one type of test. It would give us full picture. That's why we need diagnostic, formative, benchmarks, and summative tests. But how do we determine which test to use and when?
Good point, Patrick. Let's start by breaking them down. What is diagnostic testing?
I think diagnostic tests assess what a student already knows before a lesson or unit begins. It's like a doctor diagnosing an illness before prescribing treatment. If a student struggles with basic math, for example, the teacher won't immediately introduce complex equations.
That makes sense. But what if students perform poorly in diagnostic test? Should we still move on with the lesson?
That's where instructional planning comes in. Teachers use the results to adjust lessons. Some students might need extra help before progressing. It's like checking a car's engine before a long trip. You don't want to start the journey without fixing the issues first.
Interesting. Now, how does this compare with formative testing?
Formative tests are different because they happen during learning. They're like checkpoints, allowing teachers to adjust their instruction. Homework, quizzes, and class discussions are all examples.
Hmm. So, unlike diagnostic tests, formative tests don't determine what students know beforehand. Instead, they monitor progress. But how can teachers ensure formative assessments are effective?
One way is by giving immediate feedback. If a student makes a mistake, correcting it right away helps prevent bad habits. Also, formative assessment should be varied. Quizzes, discussion, even peer evaluations.
That's a great strategy. Now, what about benchmark testing? How does it fit into the assessment system?
Good question. Benchmark test measures how well students have learned specific content within a unit. They're like midterm reports. Teachers use them to see if students are on track before moving forward.
So, if diagnostic tests identify what students already know and formative tests guide learning, then benchmark tests confirm whether students are mastering the material. But should failing a benchmark test mean a student is automatically struggling?
Hmm, not necessarily. Sometimes, a low score means a student needs a different teaching approach. It's a way for teachers to reflect on their methods. Wouldn't you agree, Reggie?
Absolutely yes. This leads us to summative testing, which happens at the end of the course of the school year. How it is different from benchmark test.
That's a great question. Summative tests cover everything learned throughout the course, while benchmark tests focus on specific parts. If benchmark tests are like progress reports, summative tests are the final exam.
Exactly. That explains why summative tests have such high stakes. But if they only happen at the end, how can students improve before it's too late?
Interesting. That's the problem with relying solely on summative tests. They don't give students chances to adjust. That's why formative and benchmark assessments are crucial. They help prevent last-minute failures.
And that is true, Hill. Now let's shift gears. Have you heard about the Table of Specifications, or TOS? It is a tool that ensures assessments are aligned with learning objectives.
Yes, a TOS is basically a chart that links test questions to specific content areas and cognitive levels based on Bloom's taxonomy.
But wait, how does Bloom's taxonomy relate to assessment?
Bloom's taxonomy categorizes thinking into levels: remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. A good test should have a mix of these levels.
Ah, so a TOS helps teachers balance their assessments. Instead of only testing memorization, it ensures students also analyze and apply knowledge. But how do we construct one?
So, in order for us to construct one, first, list the topics covered in the test, then break them down by cognitive level and assign a percentage. And finally, distribute test questions based on that percentage.
That makes sense. Here's a challenge. What happens if a test lacks a TOS?
What happens is, without a TOS, tests might be unbalanced. Imagine an exam that only asks multiple choice questions about definitions. It would not test deeper understanding. A TOS ensures fairness and content validity.
And speaking of fairness, how can we make assessments more equitable for students with special needs?
That's a great question. Teachers should consider universal design for learning principles. This means using different assessment types, oral exams, visual aids, extended time, or hands-on tasks to accommodate diverse learning styles.
That's an important point. Also, teachers should provide clear rubrics so students know what's expected. Clear guidelines reduce anxiety and help students perform better.
We've covered a lot today. Before we wrap up, let's reflect. Why do you think it's crucial for teachers to understand these assessment tools?
It is crucial because understanding assessments allows us teachers or allows our teachers to track student progress effectively. If a teacher doesn't know the difference between diagnostic and formative tests, they might misuse them, leading to ineffective teaching.
Agree. Also, teachers can use the data from these tests to improve instructions. Instead of guessing where students struggles, they often have evidence to guide their decision.
I think it also helps students. When assessments are well structured, students feel more confident. They see learning as a journey, not just a series of grades.
That's a great way to put it. Plus, assessment shouldn't just be about ranking students. They should empower them to learn and grow.
That's a perfect conclusion. Thanks everyone. The discussion helped me see assessment in a new light. Until next time. Pagtatawat.
It's na.